The book of Proverbs tells us that the tongue has power over life and death. I'm living proof of this. My name is Norvilia Etienne. In a very real sense, words were used to save my life, and I've used them to help save others. In fact, as a college student, I even went to court to keep from being silenced, because I knew that speaking freely can be a matter of life and death. When she was 17 years old, my mom found out she was pregnant with me. She already had a son and knew that if she gave birth to me, she would be alone with 2 children. I can't imagine how hard that must have been for my mother. She seriously considered ending my life through abortion. She felt desperate and like she had no choice. It was then that my grandmother stepped in to deliver one firm and timely message. Her words saved my life and spared my mom from facing a lifetime of regret. I'm very thankful to my mom because she chose life. Ever since I learned that story as a teenager, I've wanted other women to have the joy of choosing life too. That's why I was so motivated to start a Students for Life group when I was a student at Queens College in New York. I knew that young women on my campus were facing that very same dilemma. Who would speak to these women as my grandmother had? Who would take up the power of life? So I gathered signatures from a few friends who were willing to join me. Together, we crafted a constitution and submitted our application to the committee, who was in charge of granting official student organization status. It was important for us to gain official recognition. This would allow us to use meeting space on campus, invite speakers, and distribute pro-life literature. Even more important to me, it will allow us to hold baby showers and diaper drives to serve pregnant and parenting students on campus. Colleges and universities throughout the country charge mandatory student activity fees, and Queens College was no different. An average student would pay $1,200 throughout their 4 years on campus, and recognized student organizations could then use those funds. At the time, our money was funding more than 100 student groups on campus, including pro-abortion clubs. We were eager to use some of those funds for the life-saving purpose we strongly believed in. Yet, we were met with resistance at every turn. I pushed forward anyway. Once I turned in the application, I met with the Campus Affairs Committee to present the purposes of the Pro-Life Club. After they cut my presentation short, they told me I'd hear back by the end of the day. I didn't. A week passed. Other clubs that had presented the same day received answers, but I hadn't heard anything. I finally reached out to the head of the Student Development Office. She said she would investigate. She confirmed what I already suspected. We were being denied official status as a student group. Why? No one could tell me. Working with Students for Life of America, we reached out to Alliance Defending Freedom for help. ADF attorneys found that the Campus Affairs Committee had been given unchecked authority to deny official recognition to student groups based solely on their viewpoint. There were no guidelines for those approving and denying student groups. Personal bias had been given free rein. And again, without official status, we couldn't access any of the student funds we paid into each semester. ADF represented us in federal court to challenge these policies. Queens College granted us official recognition and response, but it took almost a year for the college to rewrite its policy so that no student would be subject to the same form of discrimination we faced. By the time I graduated Queens College, those victories were already changing lives. Among many things, we started a scholarship for young women who were pregnant and parenting on campus. Just a few short years later, that scholarship has over $15,000 in its budget. God always does a lot with a little. When I think of that scholarship, I think of my mom and my grandmother, and I think of the young women who have already benefited from it. I'm currently doing life-saving work at Students for Life of America, and I'm very thankful Alliance Defending Freedom gave me the opportunity to play my part in making sure that free speech is alive and well at Queens College. To see more stories like this, visit adflegal.org/Freedom Matters. You can also subscribe to this channel on YouTube and click the notification bell to make sure you don't miss an episode.